before we come to this planet as humans, we create a divine design. It is our template, our blueprint, our spiritual blueprint of who we are, what color our hair is, what country we were born into, all the lessons that we want to learn, all of the sacred exchanges we want to have. Sometimes it's very specific, sometimes it's very open.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Raising the Consciousness of Humanity. I am excited to have a returned guest today, Allison Holley. Hi, Allison. How are you doing?
Hello, Ron, and hello, everybody in your community. I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you.
Allison,
Happy
it
to
was
be
so,
here.
yeah, it's so many things have changed and
Mm.
since we met last, and it was very exciting the episode that you did. And I just want people to, know a little bit about you. I know you're an author. You've got three books, a fourth one coming out sometime. I know you are a channel, you're an awakening guide, and you provide so much service to raising the consciousness of humanity the way you do. I would love to, just as an intro, so people kind of know you. If they haven't watched the previous episode, I'll put that down below. And also just a call out because I'm doing the collaboration link. So there's going to be the opportunity to subscribe not only to this channel, but also to Allison's YouTube channel. And I highly recommend that because she shares such magnificent, uh, enlightening information. But Allison, if we could begin a little bit with that story, because I think was it, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, was it like 2012, maybe?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
take us back there. What
Okay.
called you to be doing what you're doing today?
And always, even though I've shared my story so many times, I always want to tune into what is the perspective of that story that is most helpful right now to
Mm,
share. And the part that's coming up actually is the aspect of losing my voice. So when
mm,
I went through my awakening, what actually started it was I lost my voice for about 6 months off and on. So I was a fitness instructor and I was not practicing self-care. I was not taking care of myself. I was overworking. I was really pushing through life. And yeah, I lost my voice on and off for 6 months, which affected the way that I could actually show up and teach classes. But even that wasn't enough to kind of stop that pile driving into life. And I threw my neck out. And
mm,
so I ended up going to a naturopath. And, the guidance through that was, hey, I'm noticing a lot here in this area.
mm,
And what this might mean is that you might need to speak your truth. And I thought that my truth was something about the relationship that I was in at the time. So often these experiences, these people, these are catalysts, right? And we think that it's all about them, but it actually had very little to do with that relationship. It was time. It was time for me to go pop, right? So after that appointment, I went home, I ended my relationship, and there was so much emotionality and so much kind of messiness around ending that relationship that all of that chaos at that time was what sparked the opening of my awakening. So there was a lot of incongruence. There was a lot of things shifting and changing in my world. And as a result, my third eye and my crown just popped open and it
wow.
was visceral. So, the visceral experience, to give you an idea of what that felt like, that took me into about 3 months of feeling like I was on a psychedelic journey pretty regularly. So, I was having experiences like that's when I started spontaneously channeling. And that felt like pressure coming through, and then words would just kind of, I would allow myself to speak this channel of information. These words would come through. I heard the messages. I would go into a deep state of trance. Um, I was having physical changes. There was a lot around this physical reality not looking real. So there were moments where I felt like I could blow the walls over, just like nothing felt real. And I saw numbers, right? So number synchronicity, I saw repeating numbers. But it wasn't like, oh, that's cute. It was like I would see a taxi with 7777, and all of a sudden my mind would start to twirl, and everything became very psychedelic, and I would have to pull my car over because it was so intense. So this reality was really just leveling. It was just breaking down. It did not look real anymore. And when I tell people what was happening at the time, a lot of times people ask me, was that scary? Were you scared? And actually, I felt so good. It
Mm,
felt more normal than the reality that I was previously experiencing. It felt like, yes, this makes sense. Now, of course, there were times when it was very overwhelming and the energy was really flowing, and I didn't have the ability to ground it and like move through life with it. So really since then, that's what I've been practicing. And I would say for at least a solid year after the initial stages of my awakening, and then really for 3 years, I was integrating, receiving and integrating all of those experiences that happened kind of in the first few months. I was learning how to be a new human
mm,
with all of this open, and seeing reality from a new perspective. So the integration, the moving through life as a new human, that was the next phase of my awakening. And then I really started offering this as a service. Okay, like I've got this purpose. Now I can move forward and help people and offer sessions and teach people these profound teachings that were coming through.
mm.
I loved channeling, especially at the beginning, and I still love it. And the experience of channeling was it would blow my mind. It would surprise me, the information that was coming through. And that's often how I knew, this is definitely not my mind. There's no way I could even come up with this. This is so fascinating. So I was learning all of these teachings that were coming through in channeling. And yeah, the rest of, you know, that's the rest of the story. That's where I am now is what comes through. I share it and it's just my greatest joy. So yeah, so that's my story.
Well, thank you, Allison. And that
Yeah.
totally makes sense because now you realize your own purpose, right? Through why you're here and how
Yes.
you're able to, like, did you immediately start, you started channeling, did you also immediately start like helping others like you've with through
Mm.
YouTube or through your website or through your your classes and everything else that you do?
Um, okay. It's a great question. The reason it makes me laugh is because I was just such a weirdo. I still am, right? Um, but when it
Join the club.
started,
I'm yeah.
yeah, the weirdo club, I was just honestly, I was probably, and of course, this is my inner conception, but the way that I look at it now is like, the proselytizer on the corner just going like, here's a message. I mean, if I
Yeah.
look back, I'm sure it wasn't that crazy, but I was compelled to share. And
Hmm.
that word is something that I've really been connecting to a lot. Whatever we're compelled for, that's really what shows us who we're here to be. So I can
Hmm.
drop more into that later, but I wasn't intentionally trying to teach. I was trying to understand and integrate and be. But
Hmm.
through that, I was definitely sharing what I was experiencing. And especially at the beginning of my awakening, that's something really distinct to me, who I am, and my purpose. I couldn't help it, you know?
Sure.
I was just sharing what I was experiencing, and I would have a lot of people. So, part of the beginning of my awakening was I got married and we traveled all over the world. He was retired military, so we would take space available flights. And honestly, I couldn't really function and do anything else in life. And I don't, that's not sarcasm. I'm not
Hmm.
blowing that out of proportion. For the entire first year of my awakening, I sat in meditation and received. We would go into channeling and I would just receive. And it
Mm,
was such deep, beautiful teachings. And it changed me internally. It changed my whole structure, right? And
mm,
along the way, so we're traveling all over the place. And along the way, I'm just sharing
mm.
because I didn't stop myself, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it sounded really weird, but I was just sharing what I was experiencing. And I would have a lot of people come up to me all over the world, telling me, wow, because you shared what you did, let me share my experience with you.
Mm,
And for a lot of people, I was the only person that they were sharing this with, or me and my partner at the time. Like, hey, I am having these crazy experiences, but I'm not talking to anybody about it because it's so weird. But I heard you talking about having a vision. So, can I share with you that I'm also having visions? And it was really, really beautiful. And I just feel like it's such a gift that I couldn't help it that I was sharing because I wasn't in any space to hold space for other people at that time. Um, and and it is such a joy for me, and it's always been a joy for me to
mm.
teach people. Like I love sharing. To me, it's just like, whoa, want to hear something that blows your mind? Like here it is, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like, how can we integrate this? I can help you with that. So
Yeah.
it's always been from my joy that I teach and share and all of those things, but it definitely didn't start that way. It just started with blah, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Allison, because having watched your videos and in knowing your nature, you're a compassionate, kind, loving soul that
Mm.
wants to share, not the one that wants to like the type that we all seen those where they want to project their beliefs and everything in a certain controlling manner. You're not
Mhm.
like that. You're a sweet, gentle soul that's here to
Mhm.
channel things that really are uplifting, helpful, and I think helps so many people. Like you shared, another person is on their awakening journey, and you gave them permission to connect with something that they were going through the very fact that you shared.
Mm. Yeah.
Question
Yes.
that comes up, and I'm asking this because I know the audience when they listen to this, and I've had this question before. The word channeling, right?
Yes.
We can relate to so many things like the trance channeler where the other voice or dead Elvis comes
Right.
through, right? So, um, which would be really cool. I mean, I wish I could sing like him. But
No
then
idea.
there's
I'm inspired. No, I'm teasing.
yeah, and then there's also like yeah, I would say even like on the other spectrum that when you don't think you're channeling, but the person like who's a gifted songwriter who's in that zone of just
Yes.
lyrics are flowing through. What I've noticed with you is you don't shut your eyes. Well, I think you don't do that as much anymore.
Hmm.
It's always your voice. It's always that
Hmm.
that energy that I recognize is you, but I I feel the information that's coming through
Mm.
that resonates on this higher um like my body's saying yes to it. Like I
Mm.
connect with that.
Mm.
So if you could share like the way you channel, what it seems so
Yes.
natural.
I love that. Thank you. And especially, channeling. Just this morning I was questioning, do I need to keep using that word?
Hmm.
Because it does mean so many things to so many people, and they're all valid. It's
Yeah,
all channeling, right?
yeah,
Um, and I don't want that word to throw people off and think that there's going to be a different experience than what it is that I'm,
sure.
doing. So, the way that I see channeling is base note, all of us are channels, all of us. Because in order to embody a human experience, we are channeling our soul essence into this physical reality, right?
Hmm.
So, base note, we're channeling and sort of creating this marriage with physicality.
Hmm.
Now, the idea is there's different dimensional spaces that we can sort of receive and speak from. And what I like to do is go into a higher frequency realm than where my human self is,
Hmm.
right? So I go into a higher frequency realm and listen and then transmit from there.
Mm.
And that's what I call channeling. So it could be that I'm talking to another being and having a conversation and transmitting what that conversation is like. It could be that I'm just going into my higher self aspect and sort of looking around and going, oh, okay, let me describe this to you. Sometimes it's more astral travel where I'm looking through my eyes in other places on the astral plane. Remote viewing,
Mhm.
right? So those two are very similar. But basically, essentially, what I'm doing is just getting a perspective that's beyond my human mind
Mhm.
and doing my best to, without filtering it too much, share what that is. So, um, yeah, I think that's kind of the basics of the way that I channel. I always stay with me, even when I'm connecting to other beings, even when I am word for word transmitting what these other beings are saying. I never leave my center. I am always with
Mm.
me. So even if it's a trance where I sort of and I'm just observing what's channeling through, I never leave the experience. It's never like a blackout. It's always okay, I'm here, and maybe my ego self is pretty far away. But yes, I'm always with me.
That's a perfect perfect answer. And my mom is in the picture now.
Hi.
Hey, Mom, I'm doing a podcast now with my friend Allison.
I
Okay.
love that you're both wearing blue.
Yeah, blue is our special color.
Yeah. Soul color.
Yeah,
Nice to
absolutely.
meet you.
Anyways, yeah. So thank you for sharing that because I think there's sometimes is that we get conditioned around every term in a dictionary, right? So
Yes.
whether it's channeling, and sometimes we're conditioned in fear because we get
Mm.
a lot of the religious beliefs and things that come in that say don't go there. And it
Hmm.
was it was always like for my thing was like anytime I was told don't go there, that's where I went. So
Yeah.
I was
Weirdo club. Yes.
the rebel at heart, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I think what you shared sounds perfect. Like we're all channeling our higher self, and then as you shared, get to that higher frequency. I think that's and you teach channeling too. I
I
want to make
do.
a point of that so people, I'll put the link of your website down below, but there's a class that you offer and your book that you offer. I would like to maybe take the conversation a little bit more into some of your videos that you've shared. Um, is a little bit about okay, where are we on the planet now? Because
Mm.
we know a lot of us have the sense that there's craziness going on.
Mm.
We see that on the playing field of life, and a lot of us feel called to do something about it, but at the same time, we don't know what to do. But we hear these things. We hear the word ascension, right? We hear that it's where we know we're in a time of change, great change. What do you have to share around that, just from an energy reading of where we are at this moment? What
Hmm.
what 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 do you have to share?
Okay, so I took a few deep breaths even while you were introducing this topic because there is a lot. And what I want to say about that is congratulations for all of us.
Yeah.
Like we're doing it, we're here. Let's celebrate because this is like we jumped into the big water slide and now we're in the big pool of exactly what we planned, right? This is what we came here for. And it's in a very powerful transmutative process where there's a lot transforming. There's a lot burning. I mean, literally, actually, in the time that we're recording this, I just heard
Mhm.
there's like fires going on in lots of different locations all over the world. So that analogy is very apt right now. There's a lot changing. It's transmuting. Fire horse here, all of it.
Yeah.
Um, because what we need to, what we're moving into is like fertile soil for the new growth to come up. And
Mm.
so, of course, a lot is breaking down. Where we are right now is we are right in the middle of the spin cycle. Okay. And what's interesting to say, let me just kind of gather my thoughts. So, this is an example of me channeling. What I'm doing is I find myself speaking from what I already know, and what I
Mm,
want to do is listen to what I need to share. So as I attune to that, I hear yes talk about the fires, the fire, the transmutation of the fire. Hmm. And to know that there are many people who are already vibrating at a specific frequency where they don't feel the fire. So I want to talk about this. Ooh, this is really cool.
mm,
So at the beginning of my awakening, I went into a spontaneous channeling, and my grandmother came through, who's passed on,
mm,
and she came through with a message. And now my ear's ringing, so the vibration's shifting. And during that channeling, and I was just bringing through this information. And I may have shared this story with you before, but I had a minivan at the time, and I was sitting in my minivan, and it was raining outside, and I'm channeling this frequency. And instead of it looking rainy outside, everything looked like it was on fire and glowing, not from a heat perspective, but from a frequency perspective. It was just bright yellow everywhere. And it looked like the sun was just shining. And I felt like I was sitting in the middle of flames or in the middle of the sun, but I wasn't hot.
mm,
So that example comes to mind right now because what that was a frequency shift. And that's what we're experiencing right now. Not to be so dramatic, but we're sitting in the middle of the flame. But people who have this frequency that is beyond the destruction frequency, right? Because there is destruction, but our frequency, if it can be up to where the flame isn't hot, then that is the flame of creation, the flame of transmutation. So
mm.
we are there right now. So there are many people who are witnessing, wow, there's a lot of change going on, but I feel pretty great. So that's kind of where I am. I know that's where you are too. A lot of the
Yeah,
topics that I investigate with what's going on in the world, you're like, I mean, that's what I see too, and I'm not really paying attention to it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, beautifully said. And I was just thinking like, yeah, it's all frequency because if you're at a point where, regardless of what may seem to be going on in the world, or and I don't have a TV anymore, so
Yeah,
I don't
same.
always know. So,
Yeah.
but when it comes up, I'm not emotionally being pulled into that
Yeah.
for some reason. I acknowledge it. I'm aware of it. I'm not against, like I'm not pushing against it. I realize it is something that's evolving.
Mhm.
Something's going on there. But what you shared about where is our energy of creation on an individual basis, I would say maybe for a lot of people listening to this podcast are probably connecting with that.
Yes.
I am
Yes.
aware, I have compassion,
Yes.
for other human, but at the same level, I'm, maybe I'm here just at this moment to animate joy or,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so this is, especially those of us we're seeing it, but it's not really triggering and it's not really pulling us in. There's not an emotional attachment to it. Then our work and our joy and our play is, creating new earth.
Mm,
And that doesn't necessarily have to be a super active process. I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't mean that we're actually out there hammering and building buildings, maybe, but
yeah,
it really what it means is yes, the emanating joy, the being the frequency of new earth, making that
yeah.
kind of the normal baseline as all
Mm,
of us come into this, like, oh, okay, now this is the baseline for humanity. This is actually what most of us are experiencing. And as we raise the baseline, the whole world changes the way that it looks too.
mm,
So yeah, it's a profound process. I mean, there's really a lot going on, and there's a whole group of people who are just not even feeling it. They're not being touched by the flame, so to
mm.
speak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. And I think that leans into going into that next question about your class that you've got coming up. It's called Divine Design, which
Yes.
which is beautiful. And it's about purpose and it's about finding your sacred journey and connecting with that. And Allison, I have to say that, I don't think there's anybody that would do that better than
Oh.
you. I only know because I've even been through, I did a channeling session with you. And the moment I showed up, you read me like, I mean, it was like perfect.
I
So
love that.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So I
thank
think
you.
everybody who's tuning in would find that that would be a very important class to do.
Mm,
But as we think about our purpose, and how we serve, um, what is it that somebody listening to right now? Because a lot of starseeds, light workers, people are just they feel sometimes lost.
yes.
They're like, I was
Yeah.
called for this time and I'm here. What do I do now?
I know. Oh, I know. I know that feeling. I want to break down the understanding of what our life purpose really is
Mm,
to help create that holistic understanding. Yeah, and I love this. So the way that I see life purpose and the way that it's been shown to me is that our life purpose is truly simply to exist. It
mm,
is to be our frequency and to bring that frequency into this experience, this
mm,
playing field. It can almost be like having a glass of water and then say your frequency is the color purple, and you're going to
mm,
just put one little drop, that's you being born, into the earth, right? And one little drop of that purple, you think, well, I'm not doing anything, but you've
mm.
changed everything simply
Yeah.
by existing. So
Mm,
that's the base note of what our life purpose is. Before we come to this planet as humans, we create a divine design. It is our template, our blueprint, our spiritual blueprint of who we are, what color our hair is, what country we're born into, all the lessons that we want to
mm,
learn, all of the sacred exchanges we want to have. Sometimes it's very specific, sometimes it's very open.
mm,
But we create this beautiful template and it moves with us, right? It's not set in stone. It's more like colors in a kaleidoscope and it shifts and we all the pieces are always there, but we're moving, right? We're moving and shifting through time. And so we take all of that, the divine design,
mm,
what the divine design is going to show us then, right? So our life purpose is simply to exist and done. We're born, we exist, we're doing it. But then there's this part of we're physical. So what do we do with all this, right? We
mm.
want something to do. We want something tangible. And there's a lot built into our world that says if you're not doing something, what's your worth, right? So then
Yeah.
we get really attached to the doing. What's the doing? What's the thing that I do? Am I supposed to be a hairdresser in, Connecticut, or am I supposed to, we get it. And it's taking the emphasis off the doing for a moment so that we can just witness that we're already doing it simply by existing.
Mm,
But then we do have encoded within this divine design all the doing. It's already
mm,
in there. We
mm.
just don't trust it because all the doing, where does that come from? It comes from what are we compelled to do?
Yeah.
What do I have a desire to do? Some
Mm,
people say, what is your joy? Follow your joy. Even that can be a little confusing because we've got
mm.
all this like, what should I be doing? I can't just play all day, right? There's all that. So the way that we get behind that is, what are you absolutely compelled to do?
Compelled. I love that.
What are you
Yeah.
compelled to do? What's driving you when you're barely driving your car and you're driving anyway? Where are you navigating toward? Right?
Yeah. That's beautiful. What are you compelled to do? I'm compelled to answer my mom for a second,
Oh
Allison.
yeah, please. Is she
Just
asking for your help?
I'm so grateful for you, Allison. I'm so
Oh,
grateful for this collaboration. I'm going to share everything down
thank you,
below so
hon.
people can connect. I believe if you feel called or compelled
Yes.
to take this class, or at least check out Allison's YouTube channel, her website, and everything else that she offers. She's definitely a way shower, for humanity, and it's just a delight. And Allison, we'll have you back on for
Thank you
sure.
so much, Ron. I really appreciate your honoring and all the love and compassion you offer the world. You're a truly amazing person. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Okay, bye.